right. So I usually don't make videos about circumstantial topics because they really don't do the best viewership wise. And I always, whenever I put out a video, want to, make the best opportunity for myself to gain new viewership and have new people around. But this is just not one of those circumstances. I understand a lot of you are upset with what happened today. Maybe some of you don't even know about what happened today. I mean, the nitty gritty of it. Maybe we all know that the New Orleans Saints did absolutely nothing during the trade deadline, as did many teams. But I usually don't make videos like this because I know the viewership will not be as I, like it to be. But that's okay because we need to talk about this. I know some of you guys are upset. I want to take the weight off of some of your guys' shoulders because this is still a pretty crappy situation and it's not the best to be in. A lot of us got our hopes very, very high. I'll explain to you. If you don't know what happened, I'll explain to you what happened, and we'll go over a little bit of what happened today during this trade deadline because there is a bit of stuff that we did do, but there isn't a lot that we did do. But without any further ado, let's get into it. So the day started off pretty well. A lot of speculation was going around yesterday. Our name was getting thrown in with Tyler Eifert, AJ Green. Apologies, everybody. AJ Green, anybody, any wide receiver on the market at all, our name was getting, tied onto. But the New Orleans Saints didn't really, talk to too many people. I don't think they called up the Jets about Robbie Anderson. They didn't really try to make any moves at all, except for one that they were very keen on and wanted to happen extremely bad. They literally tried until the last minute to pry A.J. Green out of the Cincinnati Bengals, and that is really what a lot of today's video is about, the A.J. Green situation. Now, many of you guys might not know what I'm talking about, but on Twitter today, about 30 minutes ago, we got a bunch of tweets, and they came from Public B Enemy BSPN on Twitter. He has 58,000 followers on Twitter. He's not the most credible guy, but he does have sources and does put out breaking news on occasion whenever breaking news happens, and he's usually right. He's not the most credible, but he's usually right. He usually uses other people's information, and he ended up getting a text today from somebody high profile asking him if the Saints got AJ Green. But what he did not know is that the dude that was asking him about AJ Green forgot the question mark on the text. He explained this all on a live stream, and he thought that he said the Saints got AJ Green. That's not what happened at all. I don't know if you've seen my tweet on Twitter, but whenever he did it, I smacked the enter key and realized who it was by and that I needed to delete it ASAP. So we didn't trade for A.J. Green. We didn't trade for Devontae Parker. We didn't trade for Robbie Anderson. We didn't trade for any of those wide receivers. But the New Orleans Saints are expecting Keith Kirkwood to be around, in November before Thanksgiving. Keith Kirkwood and, Traquan Smith should be around back at that time. I could actually look up the specifics as far as that goes. But the New Orleans Saints just didn't really they didn't want to go ahead and splurge and spend multiple draft picks on a guy who would essentially be the third option to Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara on most occasions. So, I don't know. It wasn't the most ideal thing for the Saints, and the Bengals clearly weren't budging and didn't want to give up A.J. Green. So that happened. I want to talk to you guys about why this is going to be okay. It's going to be just fine. We do not need that number 2 wide receiver as bad as everybody says we do. I don't know why it's a huge stigma, but the New Orleans Saints are still ranked 12th in offense this year, and we had 5 games in which Teddy Bridgewater was starting. We're very efficient. We know how to move the ball. After the bye week, we're going to have Jared Cook coming back. Traquan Smith and Keith Kirkwood will be back this season, for the ending stretch. So those are 2 big pieces that the Saints need to get back that we will be getting back. Jared Cook is still a great tight end, a fantastic receiving threat. Drew Brees has a lot of a connection with Jared Cook. If you've seen during the Los Angeles Rams game, the passes all of the passes at the beginning were going to Jared Cook. That interception, Jared Cook got hit hard and the ball came out, and then the one where he actually tore a ligament in his thumb was directed towards Jared Cook. So there's a connection there. Once Jared Cook gets back, I promise you, he was getting in his groove before he got injured, and now Drew Brees, that connection being reestablished, we're going to have a big target there. Michael Thomas is en route to break the reception record, period. He's en route for 1,750 yards and 8 touchdowns. We're going to be just fine. Like I said, Keith Kirkwood, Traquan Smith will both be coming back extremely soon. Ted Ginn Jr. is still Ted Ginn Jr., a very reliable wide receiver that goes out there and does exactly what he needs to do to extend drives and makes big plays on occasion. Then you have Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray in the backfield. We're going to be fine. Am I a little upset that we didn't make a trade today? Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit bitter, but listen. Don't be upset about it. I literally see people's notifications in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen arguing in the Discord right now. There's no reason to panic. There's no reason to be upset. This Saints team has not had anyone else at wide receiver actually play a game, Des Bryant, since last year. We're okay. Don't worry about it. This is the same squad that went 13-3, where Super Bowl runner-ups should have went to the Super Bowl. The same squad with better leadership, with better experience, just more war-hardened and battle-ready. This is the same squad. They can go out there and they can get it done. So, like I said, I don't know how you guys feel about the trade deadline. It was genuinely boring throughout the entire NFL today. Like, nobody – I think the one trade was Aqib Talib got banished. He got sent to the Shadow Realm, Miami. Aqib Talib, I'm sorry, bro, that you're going through what you have to go through right now. I know it sucks you're going through the motions, but you can pull out of it, I promise. The Rams traded him to the Dolphins for, I believe, a 5th-round pick or something like, or a future pick, and they traded Aqib Talib in a 5th-round pick. So, Aqib Talib, I'm sorry, you got banished to literal football hell. Enjoy your stay because ain't nobody coming to save you. But yeah, the trade deadline was relatively. It wasn't big. It was just a disappointing NFL trade deadline. I wanted to be in class, sitting there on Twitter. By the way, if you guys don't have my Twitter, it is nosreport_. I'm a lot quicker with news on there. Go ahead and follow. Shameless self-promotion. Only 25 followers right now, but it's okay because we're going to get that number up. So go ahead and go follow me on Twitter. But I wanted to be sitting there tweeting, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Wow, this is insane. But nothing happened. No moves were made. Mickey Loomis held his finger on the trigger, and I feel like a lot of us are going to come to respect that decision. I think a lot of us are going to be happy he did that. I think a lot of us are going to admire the fact that he did that, because when we have all of our 5 draft picks next year, listen, the Bengals wanted multiple draft picks, probably one of them being a first-round pick for someone who would be our second or third option. Definitely not our first, because Michael Thomas has that locked down. Would Michael Thomas and A.J. Green have been awesome to watch? Possibly. But it's just the principle of things. The New Orleans Saints front office showed a ton of resilience. They showed a ton of discipline today. They didn't do what, could have ended up shooting us in the foot. We can look in the waiver wire. Players like Josh Gordon, who has proven to be an extremely reliable wide receiver. Josh Gordon would actually be an amazing number 2 in New Orleans after spending some time with New England. He's going to be released. The New Orleans Saints front office is extremely familiar with the New England Patriots front office, which is why Brandon Cooks went right to New England. There was no discussion anywhere else. They are very intertwined. They will be the first to talk to people. The Saints will be taking notes as soon as he gets dropped onto the injured reserve and then cut. The New Orleans Saints will do their homework and will probably try to scoop him up off of the waiver wire if he's available. So there are options. There's the waivers. There's free agency players like Des Bryant could get a call if the Saints find it that big of a need. If we think we're that desperate for a wide receiver, we could make that call. But odds are we keep with what we have. We stay with our wide receivers. We trust our running backs. We trust the fact that we have Drew freaking Brees at the helmet, who can literally turn like I said, a middle school football player into an all-pro wide receiver It's okay. We will be just fine. We play Atlanta after the bye week, second bye week in a row. Hallelujah. And then we go on and continue with our season. We face San Francisco week 14. We have bigger things to worry about than changing the team. The locker room is fine. The players have the perfect charisma with each other. We just need to get a couple of injuries back, Traquan and Keith, and we will be perfectly fine. So everybody, stop freaking out. An uneventful trade deadline is simply an uneventful trade deadline. There's nothing we can do about it. We just have to sit there and just accept it. The AJ Green trade was something that a lot of people thought happened. Public Bieniemy really dropped the ball on that one. As a big source, he was a big letdown for all of us. So don't trust him. If you see a tweet by Public Bieniemy, he was wrong about the Malcolm Butler and Tyrann Mathieu news. Don't trust him. He's been wrong about so much. I literally got so excited a year before because of the Tyrann Mathieu news. Do not trust Public Bieniemy. That's the moral of today's story. We will be perfectly fine, an uneventful trade deadline or not. Who dat, everybody? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.